What's going on? I'm gonna just be honest. I haven't did this in a minute, so I'm trying to come back and basically um, uh, be wise enough to express myself about certain things I know that I believe is right. And this goes out to my brothers, my Israelite brothers. And I'm gonna just say for just for the understanding, my black brothers, for the brotherhood, because that's what we understand. So we want to get too confused about necessarily who I'm speaking to. Now, um, I had one black lady uh, that said something to me, months ago, uh, and it kind of stuck with me. But uh, I never really just acknowledged it. But then it just kind of stuck with me. She was like, our sisters, like the sisterhood. She was like, us women, us black women stick together, and that kind of stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Because I noticed that black women, uh, my Israelite sisters, even even when black women when they wrong, what happens? They normally what they even support one another even when they wrong. You see what I'm saying? Even in they wrongdoing, you know, you get another sister, in the sisterhood, you know what I'm saying, to come to her defense. You see what I'm saying? It's only I notice only in my nationality as black brothers that we like to kick each other when we down, to glorify ourselves because we want to be glorified or we want to be praised. And the only way that we feel like uh, we believe that we can be praised in some way is to attack another brother, and also too is that the black man is the most marginalized man on the face of the earth. Israelite brother, you know what I'm saying? Because that's who he really is. And even because we marginalized, because we are at the bottom, and we get blamed for everything. You see where I'm going with this. You know, in order for us to have some dignity as black men, we feel like we have to hurt our own. To feel like that we not a part of the black man suffering. You know what I'm saying? Black suffering as such, as if I made it or I arrived, or so we glorify the failure of black men. We glorify and we also deify necessarily black men to eventually have the power to take them down. You see what I'm saying? So we glorify their fall. We appraise them while they up, but the whole time we looking for their downfall. So basically, what I'm trying to get to is that let me read. Let me come from the Bible, and the first thing that I want to necessarily read, and uh, it's good to have wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And it's good to also, when you have wisdom, to acknowledge your wisdom, especially when it comes from God. And everything that's good comes from above. So everything that's good comes from above. But this goes into the Bible also say when you have an ought with your brother. I'm not gonna go to it here because there's some other scriptures. I got 4 scriptures I want to go to. But when you have an ought with your brother, let him know. And I have an ought with my brothers. not animosity or hate or any jealousy or anything of that nature, but I've learned over the years how to take constructive criticism. So if my brother have some constructive criticism, fine, take it. Or sometimes we don't know how to encourage our brother because we so used to pumping ourselves up or finding an opportunity to to be glorified in ourselves. Because the Bible also say that in the last days they're going to be what? Uh, Lovers of themselves. So we want to be lovers of ourselves, and when we see our brother down, we want to run over there and kick him while he's down. Like, what is this world coming to? You see what I'm saying? Everybody's situation is different. Everybody, even Christ himself, was pleased by his Father to suffer. So we don't know necessarily why somebody is being persecuted or why somebody is suffering or why somebody in a situation that they in. But as black men, we feel the need just because, oh, I'm a little bit better at him because I'm not going through a certain situation, that I can choose to talk about him, to glorify myself because I'm doing something, I'm working harder than him. And then I notice as us black brothers too, that we think if you go always back to slavery, the times, and the Mandingos, like, we've been fighting each other. And it's been Esau, the white man, necessarily, who's been, the catalyst for that type of animosity toward one another. So what I mean is that we always competing. You know what I'm saying? There are certain things that we should, align ourselves to, compete for. But we shouldn't always be in a mindset of competition. You see what I'm saying? So when real things, now necessarily, if I'm playing a PlayStation, I'm playing a game, which is a game that you compete. And that's a game that, necessarily makes sense to compete for. If I'm playing a sport, or I'm playing something of that nature, basketball or baseball or football, whatever the sport is. I happen to like basketball more than all of them, but I do like the other sports necessarily. But at the same time, if I'm playing basketball, you competing. So that makes sense to be competitive. As such, if you're doing something that is recreational and that's a game. But we fail to realize, even in certain personal and general things in life, that it's not necessarily a game. And if we plan a life of game, it is not checkers, it's chess. I get that. But the checkers or chess is a game. That's a recreational game. But there are certain circumstances in life that are not games. Life is not a game. It's very important. You understand? Yeah, now we make the analogy, if life was a game, it would be chess. Okay. Because because necessarily of the strategy and the strategic way is it needs to be played. You understand? But even in that, it don't even make sense. This, if we was to play chess, the opponent is the person that's trying to eradicate or defeat the next person, right? Why would I be one of the why would, if I'm a pawn, or let's just say whatever I am, okay, you have the white pieces and you have the black pieces, okay? So if I'm a black piece, why would I want to run over here and hurt my other brother? Because first of all, chess is a game based off of war. They are war tactics. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm one of the chess pieces, one of the black chess pieces, why would I want to go over here and hurt and kick my brother while down? Because we're not thinking that what? Because basically God is a God of war, right? So if God is a God of war, you know what I'm saying? Why are we not thinking necessarily about who our real enemy is? Back in the day, in the 50s and the 60s, even before that, we identified, we had a common interest to understand and know who our enemy was. Correct? You know what I'm saying? So we at least had that innate understanding of, hey, I need to stick together. Why would I go and X out another piece on the same team? Or you know what I'm saying? You're on the same team and you fighting your own brother. We fighting amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? And even in those battles back in those times, you know, when we fought and we was doing what God told us to do back in the Bible times, you know, God made the opposing army what? Fight amongst themselves. So they didn't even have to fight. So why we fighting amongst ourselves? Because we cursed. You see what I'm saying? Because we have a problem amongst each other because we want to be praised and we want to be the number one. Okay? But we have to understand God, the Father, is number one. His Son even don't take on that responsibility to pump himself up to try to take the credit for himself. Why? Because he delight himself. The Father Christ delight himself in giving praise to his Father. So he say, why callest me good? Right? So he said, the only one good is my Father. So Christ don't even take credit for something he necessarily should be praised for, anyway. You see what I'm saying? So let me go to Proverbs 24:16. All right. Proverbs 24:16, I'm going to read that. For a just man falleth 7 times and rises up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. Rejoice not when thy enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth. Let the Lord see it, and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him. Fret not thyself because of evil men, neither be thou envious at the wicked, for there shall be no reward to the evil man. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. What is that saying? That saying is that some people attack people and they don't know that they righteous, just for the simple fact that they fall or something happened to them. Just because someone is in a situation doesn't mean necessarily they did something to be in that situation. Maybe the reason why the devil attacked them because necessarily they doing something right. Now, we all have fallen short of sin and the glory of God. Yes, there's judgment, but there's also repentance. So that means if a man who is just falls for whatever reason, means that he is righteous enough to get back up because he is a just and ask for forgiveness, okay? Or whatever his situation causes him to stumble, okay? Just like it's saying here, necessarily because of sin, right? So I don't get to sit here and look at my brother because we at war, okay? And we all are in this together. But because we lovers of ourselves, we move, especially as black people, we move individually to survive. You see what I'm saying? And we should be a together people and not an individual type of people. Why? Because every other nationality, what? Moves as a group. And God see us, what? As a group. All right? So, I don't get to sit there and demean and laugh and make fun or run over there and kick my brother while he down, because we don't know necessarily, especially if God haven't shown you, or if you don't have the spirit to understand if that's a righteous man or not. So if you laugh or demean in your heart and hurt, or even apologize, if I like, Lord, forgive me, I shouldn't. Sarah laughed in her heart because she didn't believe what? God was going to, make that happen for her. Okay? Because God told her she was going to have a child. You know what I'm saying? Who was going to get the promise? Who was Isaac. Okay? But we have to be careful how we handle each other and how we deal with one another. Because innately we don't know that person's personal standings with the Father. Okay? If he is a righteous man, okay, if he is a just man, and you run over there and you kick him while he's down, then how much more, will God judge you for attacking a just man? I'm going to read it again. For a just man falleth 7 times. So, why do we kick people while they down? Especially amongst brothers. We don't do that to our real enemy, necessarily. We do that amongst each other. Why? Well, so because we feel like that's the only way I can be praised by my people, is to kick somebody while they down. Okay? Instead of lifting them up. You see what I'm saying? So if you understand chess and understand war, why would I go and try to take my own brother out? Why would I go and try to hurt my own brother? Right? Because your brother's supposed to be there for adversity. So how can your brother be there for you if you only got 3 pieces left on the chessboard? Then your opponent gonna wipe you out. Why? Because you didn't destroy every one of your brothers. You see what I'm saying? How, if you have a war like mine, the art of war, then how can you survive if you understand you have a common enemy? It's the fact that you don't have a common enemy because you don't understand that the devil's your enemy. And you would rather lift up your devil and tear down your brother. You see what I'm saying? You see how crazy, how evil the devil is? You see what I'm saying? So let's go to even those who operate by the devil. Let me say this. Even those who operate by the devil, even when Christ hit the Pharisees and the Sadducees, or the scribes, what did they do? They said that Christ was doing everything that he was doing out of what? By Beelzebub, or by the devil. You see what I'm saying? And he said, how could that be? He said, everything that I'm doing can't be of the devil. Because what the devil does, the devil don't do what he do out of what? Out of order. Because the devil is organized. You understand? How can you defeat an opponent that's organized? How can you defeat an opponent that's disciplined? Because the kingdom of Satan, right, is organized. The kingdom of God is organized. Okay? It's just based off the kingdom of Satan is wicked. You see what I'm saying? The kingdom of God is righteous. But it's still orderly. And the people of God, his sons and his daughters, black people, who are his people, the Israelites, are disorderly. So if Christ is here to put back the order. Okay, how is he doing that? By the devil. You see what I'm saying? Which means that will make Christ unruly and unorderly. But Christ is not unorderly and unruly because, first of all, he understands placement, and he understands order, and he understands leadership. Okay? So then, scribes and Pharisees, then what did you do? What are you doing? Are you doing what you're doing by the devil? You have to be doing what you're doing by the devil because you was the one who was saying all praise, who? Caesar. And we understand that the devil, Esau, is the devil. But you crucify a man who is perfect. You understand? And then you say all hail Caesar. So you praise white people and then you demean your own brother who is black like you, who's necessarily going through, and you probably ain't that far away from, you know what I'm saying, from your suffering. You see what I'm saying? So why would I sit here and kick my brother while he's down, understanding that we all dealing with oppression. We all necessarily dealing with systemic racism. You see what I'm saying? So back in the day, there was a common interest, and black people stuck together because we understood overtly who our enemy was. But today we forgot. We don't understand because the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's the only thing he comes to do. You know what I'm saying? So he comes to divide and conquer. So your enemy has to be in close proximity to you to hurt you. You see what I'm saying? That's why integration hurt us worse than segregation. You understand? Sometimes it's better for us to be segregated. Because how can two walk together lest they agree? Well, then if I don't agree with you, I don't need to be walking together with you. You understand? But then if you walking together with someone that don't agree with you, then they have the ability to hurt you. You see what I'm saying? But then you supposed to be walking together and agreeing with your brother. All right, let me go to Matthew 6 and 5. Matthew 6 and 5. Okay, I think Christ is speaking right here. Matthew 6 and 5. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogue. So who was the hypocrites he was talking about? He was talking about the scribes and the Pharisees back then. Okay? And in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. So why do we go and we run and we kick our brother while they down? Why? Because necessarily we want a reward from people necessarily who hate you. Okay? Or we want the praise of people who get excited when each other fight. Okay? Or when we take our camera. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're doing something that is right and righteous, or if you helping somebody, why would I put it on camera? Now it makes sense to, if you promoting something or you have a business, or if you're trying to make a statement that is relevant and prevalent and makes sense, is to promote what you're doing, okay, for a common interest, for a cause that will benefit you, you know, the right way. But if you going out your way to prove and show, to kick somebody down, to pump yourself up or to lift yourself up, that's wrong. Which means there is a scripture I'm going to go to, and I'm going to prove that, is also in Matthew, that talks about You know, if you do something in secret, if you pray in secret, or you know what I'm saying, or whatever you do, if you help someone in secret, you're not trying to uh, uh, show people, oh, look, I'm a good person. I'm a righteous person because I went over here and helped this person. You know what I'm saying? So you want to show everybody you're doing something. That's a hypocrite. Why? Because you're trying to show that you're a good person and you're not a good person. You know what I'm saying? Right. So he said, don't be like the hypocrites. They go in the synagogues and pray for men to see, because people want the praise of men, especially here on social media. You know what I'm saying? People want the praise of people, of their peers, of their so-called friends. You know what I'm saying? So they want the praise of people. Why? Because it's going to benefit them, you know what I'm saying, to put somebody else down. If you're working and you're doing everything in your power to be the best man that you can be, to be a family man and be a good man, you know what I'm saying, to be a blessing to your family, why would you have to promote that? Why would you have to kick somebody else down to promote that? You see what I'm saying? Which means is that God will reward you openly what's done in secret. So I shouldn't have to promote necessarily what I'm doing unless it's a business or unless it's something that's profitable to get more clientele. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, so it's not wrong. That's not wrong to promote what you're doing, because the Bible say if you have wisdom, if you have insight about it, speak about that. You know what I'm saying? Open up about that. You know what I'm saying? Give your insight to encourage your brother. You know what I'm saying? To help your brother. But don't use the web or the net necessarily to kick your brother while he's down. You know what I'm saying? To promote yourself as if you better than him. You see what I'm saying? Let's go to let me finish reading. Let's go to let's go ahead and go to Matthew 6. Back here before that, to prove what I said, Matthew 6, 3 and 4. All right. But when thou doest alms, let not thou left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. So all this is talking about a reward. Why people do things? People do things for a reward, necessarily. Why would you sow a seed? Men sow seeds in women. That can be spiritually or that can be physically. Why? To have a baby. Why people work hard? People work hard because necessarily there's a reward of a check. Why? So you can take care of yourself and you can also take care of your family. You see what I'm saying? But just because the love of money is the root of all evil, so the devil uses money to divide people. And that's one of the things that as black people, we allow money, because of the love of it, to destroy one another. While people use the money that we have to elevate themselves, especially that's not a part of our ethnic race. You see what I'm saying? So why would I use money just because someone else is suffering? If a man that ain't righteous falleth, he stay in wickedness. Okay? So his whole mindset because of his failing is because he's a wicked man. You saying? Or a wicked woman or whatever. So he stays in that condition. You see what I'm saying? But if a righteous man falleth, why would you go and kick him while he's down? Why would you go and hurt him? Why would you go and talk about him? Why would you go and make fun of him? Why would you go and laugh at him? So that makes you no better than the enemy that you're fighting on the opposing side. Because you know he don't love you no more than you love the person that you kicking. So I don't understand necessarily in some ways. I know why in some ways, because of the curses of us not being obedient to him. God allows us to destroy one another because we perish because of a lack of knowledge. We hate our brother because we perish because it's some knowledge that we don't understand, that we lack, and therefore because we reject the word of God, which are the commandments of God. You know what I'm saying? Your enemy, the devil, hates you or attacks you according to knowledge because he understands innately who you are in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So let's go to Philippians 2 and 3. Philippians 2 and 3. 2, 3. Okay? Let nothing be done through strife or vain glory. That first part said, let nothing be done through strife and vain glory. So why am I speaking here to you? Why? Because God has given me some wisdom to share with my brother. Am I sharing with my brother to tear him down? No. Am I sharing with my brother to try to hurt him? No. Am I sharing with my brother because necessarily he's ignorant? Not necessarily. You know, we all at some point lack some knowledge. And we all at some point fail to actually understand not to fall in that hole again, but to use the experience from life to be better, to be a better person. You know what I'm saying? So it's right to esteem one another better than yourself. It's right to esteem my brother better than myself because my brother is me. You understand? So if my brother is me, why would I hurt my brother? I will hurt my brother, or I will kick my brother while he's down because, first of all, I don't understand who I am. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't understand who I am, of course I'm going to hurt my brother because I don't recognize my brother is me. You know what I'm saying? So if my brother is me and I run over there and I kick him while down, I hurt me. You know what I'm saying? I'm destroyed by what I do to my own brother. That's why God said, the word of God said, esteem others better than yourself. And I'm proof right here. So it's like, okay, let nothing be done through strife, vain glory. Okay? But in lowliness, what is lowliness? Lowliness means, hey, my brother, my black brother, I'm not better than you. First of all, because I'm black, we the same thing. So if we the same people, you know what I'm saying? I humble myself because I recognize I am you. Okay? All right, so if I hurt you, don't you got maybe a son or a family, you know what I'm saying, or a wife or a child? I want aspiration to have those same things, or I've had that. So I don't want you to lose your family. I don't want your family to lose you because I hate you. So if I hate you, I hate myself. That's what Christ is saying. So Christ is saying, how can I hate you? You know what I'm saying? When I love you. So therefore, if I hate you, that means I hate myself. That doesn't make sense. That means you retarded. That means that necessarily you don't have enough sense to understand to love yourself. And loving yourself is loving your brother. That's the whole point. Because we thinking our individual self is loving you. Yes. I can't love me if I don't love my brother who is me. You see what I'm saying? So I have to humble myself. I didn't say you have to humble yourself, even though you should humble yourself too. But I said me. I have to humble myself of mine to let each esteem others better than themselves. Okay? Let not every man on his own things be every man also on the things of others. Let this mind be in you. Which what that mean? Be on the. I shouldn't focus necessarily on you to see, oh yeah, he ain't good enough. He fall. Look where he just fell right there. When you don't go, Christ gonna come and pick you up. If you a righteous man, or if you a just man, you know what I'm saying? But your own brother won't go and pick you up. Your own brother will exploit you. But who do more exploiting than anybody? The devil. You want to be more like the devil, who hate both of us? Who hate all of us? You know what I'm saying? So if the devil can divide and conquer, once you eradicate me, then what you think the devil gonna come do to you? Then he gonna eradicate you. Don't think that just because the devil haven't attacked you, you know what I'm saying, don't mean that, you know what I'm saying, he ain't coming for you. You see what I'm saying? And just because he ain't coming for you, don't mean you doing something right. Because the devil can bless you just like God can bless you. But what the devil does, what you don't understand, the devil don't have anything that God don't have. First of all, the devil don't own anything. And it don't belong to the devil. Just like the devil came to Christ and told him, I'm going to give you this and I'm going to give you that. Why? How you going to give me something that's mine? How you going to give me something that's not even yours? You see what I'm saying? So we credit to the devil for something that's not even his, and then we end up giving him more praise. Why? Because we sit over here and hate our brother because we want vainglory. I want to kick my brother down because I want vainglory. I want to talk about my brother because I want vainglory. Why? Because we don't even understand your own brother is you. And that's why we destroy. Before we destroy here, we destroy here. Mentally. And that's why the sisterhood, women, black women, can even support each other even when they wrong. And I'm not saying you're supposed to support, you know what I'm saying, your brother in his wrong. But the devil even support his brother. White people, Esau even support his brother in his wrong. Why? Because he exonerate his own people, even when they wrong. But as black people, we don't even exonerate. We don't even give our own brother grace. How retarded we are. We ignorant. We don't give our own brother grace. Soon as something happened to him, we don't say, brother, it's okay, it's all right, let me help you up. And I'm not even always talking about financially. Sometimes emotionally, what we say and what we do is the problem. And that's why we can't, as a group, move and get to where we need to be. Why? Because we so worried about ourselves and not understand that we can't move on the chessboard properly because we hurting our brother. How you gonna exclude? How you gonna hurt your own brother when he down? You know what I'm saying? How you gonna kick your own brother when he down? And we retarded as a group of people. Saying, first of all, because we scared of the devil. How you gonna be scared and afraid of the devil? You know what I'm saying? And not even afraid of the God who created you and your brother. You know what I'm saying? Why? We give the devil too much credit. Why is that? We pull. You ever seen the Boondocks? The Boondocks have is one, and it makes sense. I like the Boondocks. You know what I'm saying? But it's one particular script in there that was really good. You know what I'm saying? You remember Bushido Brown? Bushido Brown was a cold martial artist, right? So Granddad, Huey, and Riley, they was dealing with some older people. They thought it was Stink Meter, so it was friends of Stink Meter. You see what I'm saying? They were friends of Stink Meter. And Stink Meter was some old evil black man, you know what I'm saying, who hated everybody. And everybody was the N word. Everybody in his own group was the N word. He hated his own people. You know what I'm saying? Which innately he hated himself. But in the home, you know what I'm saying, the old folks' home, he had 3 friends. They was all old, but then they had some gifts that was given to them to, you know, have to be martial artists. You see what I'm saying? Because eventually Stink Meter came back. He went to hell and he came back with some skills to what? Kill Granddad. You know what I'm saying? Because Granddad, here we thought that he was a blind master. That because he hit Granddad or hurt Granddad, you know what I'm saying, that he had some hidden skills. But then here go Granddad, didn't really understand that it was by luck for such, you know what I'm saying, that he did what he did to him, even though he was blind. You know what I'm saying? That here go Granddad going to train in some martial arts to really hurt this old man who was senile. You see what I'm saying? But make a long story short, these 3 older people came to kill Granddad, to kill him and hurt Huey and Riley, his whole family. So, in such, this is black on black crime. You see what I'm saying? So, all 3 of them was like masters in the arts of martial arts. So they flying over buildings, they doing roundhouses, kicks. You know what I'm saying? The best martial artists you ever seen. They got weapons and stuff just to kill, you know, Huey family. You know what I'm saying? So Granddad goes to hire what? A bodyguard, which is quote unquote Bushido Brown. And Bushido Brown he got all different type of black belts and necessary the different type of martial arts, the mixed martial arts he knows, right? So this one guy, and he ended up paying thousands and thousands of dollars to go in debt just to have Bushido Brown to protect him, right? So they finally find Granddad, his family, where he's staying, and these 3 old geezers, you know what I'm saying, with godlike abilities, start fighting them. You know what I'm saying? So they was going to come in and kill all 3 of them because they was already in a fight and already got hurt. You know what I'm saying? But because something happened, they couldn't finish it and finish him off. So here go Bushido Brown jumping in, and he able to hold his own. He hurt a couple of them. But then, make a long story short, he ended up getting his head chopped off, right? Okay, so here come the police. They come and they say, hey, you arrested for killing Bushido Brown. Where all this superpower for the police? I'm not saying we fight not against flesh and blood. I'm not necessarily saying that black people need to be violent toward police officers, especially if they white. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not advocating violence, but what I'm saying is advocating for why we so adamant to hurt one another, but when those who are our real enemy, we don't got no hands for. We don't got no godlike ability. What was all that jumping and fighting and kicking when it came to, you know what I'm saying, the police officers that came to arrest them or take them to jail? You see what I'm saying? You see how crazy we is? You see how destroyed we is? And you think that's something God like? At least, if we gonna be marching, we shall overcome. At least do that together as a group of people. At least set up a standard as a group if we not gonna be violent. That's one common thing that we had in our mind. You know what I'm saying? But violence take it by force. So necessarily what I'm saying is, because we don't fight against spiritual wickedness in high places, we don't fight against flesh and blood, why are we hurting the flesh and blood of our own? Why are we destroying the flesh and blood of our own? Why are we talking about and kicking our own brother down who's is the same flesh and blood. Because we taught through generations, through slavery, you know what I'm saying, even by Christ and what he did for us, you know what I'm saying? Oh, he was handed over to the Romans, right? Which means his own people handed him over. Which means we have a history of hurting one another. We have a history of crucifying one another. You know what I'm saying? So first of all, that needs to stop. Because we have to understand if we are at war, no matter if it's physical or spiritual, how can you win a fight if you eradicate your own? You understand? How can you win if you kill your own king? How can you win if you take out your own queen? How can you win if you kill your own bishops, your own prophets, your own, you know what I'm saying? You destroy your own land. You see what I'm saying? So the devil has to do nothing. Because everything that you do it. You see what I'm saying? So it's not going in, and I'm not talking about my people to kick my people down. I'm saying the edification of who we are needs to be edified in who we are. God's people. And then we can't be God's people if we killing one another. And then we got to deal with Esau, the white man, killing us too. So that makes it more easy. How can you come and speak out about what they doing if we doing it to ourselves? So first of all, in order for me to point the finger, before I can point the finger, if I got a log in my eye, how I'm gonna take the peck out of somebody else's eye if I got a log in my own? If we got a log in our own community, if we got frustration, if we got jealousy, if we got hate, if we got confusion, dysfunction, if we have all those things in our own selves, in our own community, which is not a community, to be proud, what am I going to be proud about a community that's not a community? I'm going to be proud about a neighborhood that's not a neighborhood. Ain't nothing to be proud about there, because a neighborhood, it means that you have that you are committed to your own people who you live by to set the proper standards for a community. So if we don't even work together as a group, no matter whatever collegiate level you on, none of your masters and none of your degrees matter, no matter if you're a political person or not. Because I don't trust in the political world, because the political world have continued to lie to us as a people. Not necessarily that I'm looking for something. You see what I'm saying? Everybody else gets something before us. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not willing to fight my own brother to prove something. You know what I'm saying? But in humbleness, the humbleness from who my father is and the humbleness of who my brother is, keep me loving my brother. So necessarily, if my brother offend me and hurt me, I have to forgive him. Because necessarily when God created my brother, he created him to be righteous. So he has the ability in him to get up, because possibility he's a just man. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't make sense for me to laugh at him. It wouldn't make sense, because lest you be destroyed or lest you go through that same thing, I'm gonna be in my ignorance and in my learning process. I've learned and I've done stuff to prove this same accusation. You know what I'm saying? I done something or laugh at somebody calamity or laugh at somebody's situation, and I tried that. And you know what? I ended up in a worse situation, or I end up in a bad situation. Why? Because God didn't like that. You see what I'm saying? God didn't want that. Why? Because we think necessarily there are some things that are comical. I know the difference from something that is serious and something that is comical. You know what I'm saying? Some things can be laughed at because in everything there's some humor in it. You know what I'm saying? Because God is a God of humor. God has emotions. If God created you and you was created in his likeness, in his manner, don't you think God has emotions? Don't you think God has feelings? And I heard somebody say that love is not an emotion. How can love not be an emotion? You got to be crazy. Love is an emotion. You understand? Hate is an emotion. Being jealous is an emotion. So the Bible say that God is a jealous God because he has the right to be a jealous God because he owns everything. Everything belongs to him. And if he gave you everything just like he gave Adam everything in the garden, and then he idolized his wife, you know what I'm saying, or his significant other, Eve, then God said, you take everything that I gave you and you take that idolization and you give it to this woman who deceives you, this woman who don't care about the family and disrespects you. But I am God who gave you everything. You see what I'm saying? So God becomes jealous when we take everything that he gave us to idolize something else and we make it a God. You know what I'm saying? He say, I'm the true and living God. I'm a God that's got a body. I'm a God that can breathe. I'm a God that can smell, hear, taste. You know what I'm saying? And we worship so-called gods that can't move, gods that's not living. And what they gonna do for you? Nothing, because they can't hear you. They can't smell you. And why you think when we in sin, God say you stink? Why? Because he understands that's a smell. He was like, I don't want to smell you right now because I can't. You can't become near me because I'm a holy God, right? So if the only way I can receive you if you come through my Son who is Christ. So I'm almost done. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is we have to be like Christ. If Christ can do it, that means we can do it. And Christ said, forgive them for that. They know not what they do. He was saying they ignorant. They lack the knowledge to understand necessarily who I am and what I came to do. You know what I'm saying? So your brother will demean you. Your brother will hand you over. Your brother will trick you. Your brother will deceive you. Your brother will, you know what I'm saying? Your brother will trade on you. Why? Because he don't understand himself. Because he lacked the knowledge to know that he's tricking himself. He's hurting himself. He bamboozling his own self. You know what I'm saying? And anytime you afflict yourself, anytime you hurt yourself, that means you crazy. That means you out of your mind. The devil is psychologically is a what? Okay, if he still kill and the devil only comes to kill, steal, and destroy, that means he's a psychopath. Which means you can't reason necessarily with a psychopath because the psychopath already made up in his mind not to understand you, not to care about you. You see what I'm saying? But a God who owns everything, who have all power, you know what I'm saying, was put on the cross for you because he had to bear his own cross and say, Lord, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. And his Father was pleased in his punishment, in his suffering. Why? Because he knew that he was going to conquer the grave anyway. You know what I'm saying? And it don't make sense for us to get so caught up in the cross. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something we have to bear. But at the same time, we have to understand that he got up too in the first place. So if we're going to support anything, it needs to be that he got up. So, I mean, I know I didn't wore crosses before and stuff like that. But then we have to be careful of that. That's like, you know what I'm saying, putting an execution on your on your chain or on your arm. You supporting the very thing that was used to kill black men. You know what I'm saying? That's like putting a noose around your neck. You know what I'm saying? A noose on your arm. You gonna support the very thing that was there to kill you. You see what I'm saying? But you have to understand God created all things, but God, you have to understand God had power over that. You see what I'm saying? God, he got up. Christ got up. You know what I'm saying? He got up he got up from the grave. You know what I'm saying? He conquered the grave. He conquered death. You see what I'm saying? So we have to respect each other. You know what I'm saying? We have to esteem others. You have to esteem your brother better than yourself. So when my brother is giving me wisdom, I have to humble myself and listen. When my brother is saying something constructive, I have to sit there and listen. You know what I'm saying? I have to learn. Man, I'm going to tell you, it was one story and then I'm going to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? I was in a car. And I was in my car and I was just driving on the street. You know what I'm saying? And mine, it's a bunch of cars. It's not like at night or at a time where, you know what I'm saying, nobody's on the street. Just during the daytime. You know what I'm saying? Somebody come out the blue just driving crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm nowhere near them. But I'm sure, you know what I'm saying, everybody looked over there to see what was going on. You know what I'm saying? This guy directly, another brother look at me and say, with the B word, "Hey B, what the F you looking at?" You know what I'm saying? And I look and just keep moving. But see, that's the ignorance. Nobody else would challenge. If I was a white man or any other type of nationality, man, he probably would have never said nothing. But because I'm a black man, we find a need to go out our way to hurt each other. You know what I'm saying? It matters that much. If I step on your shoe, then I got to prove to you, you know what I'm saying, that I need to shoot you or I need to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Because we lost the fact of understanding our identity. And if you know that Christ, if you know that God looks like you, then you wouldn't be fighting you. You understand? So, do I need to take the time to prove to another brother that I can prove to you that I'm masculine, or I can prove to you I'm strong enough to fight you? You know what I'm saying? Why would I want to fight my own brother in the first place? Why? Because of programming. We don't have reign to fight our real enemy because, first of all, we know physically they will destroy us. Basically off the weaponry that they have. You see what I'm saying? So, the spirit, the evil spirit of the devil inside of us feel the need that I have to prove to my own brother I can destroy you. So we end up fighting each other. You see what I'm saying? And trying to prove that to our own brother. Oh, he nobody. I can just kick him right down. Oh, he's not valuable. You have to understand your brother is valuable. Because God values you. God holds you accountable. Your Father holds you accountable because you are the holy people. You know what I'm saying? You are holy. God made you holy and acceptable unto him. So if you're going to defile yourself and destroy yourself, how you expect the Father to receive you? You know what I'm saying? How you expect Christ to receive you and help you? You know what I'm saying? So that's all that I have to say. I think as black men, you know, we have to do better. And I think sometimes we so caught up in necessarily what we doing. Oh, if I'm doing good or we doing great, that especially financially, you know what I'm saying, that your enemy who hates you is your brother. And yes, a lot of us are ignorant. So that's why in the scripture where I was saying that we shouldn't be jealous of one another. We shouldn't be hating on one another. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there's a lot of people that's better than me. You know what I'm saying? But see, I understand it. You see what I'm saying? I'm not fighting. God made you better than an ant, right? Or made you better than an insect. or a bird or a lily of the field. And God, it ain't like a bird rising up, right? A bird rising up to destroy you because God made them better. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand your place and understand what God is giving you to be necessarily successful. And I'm not talking about this world success. You understand? Because that's two different things. You know what I'm saying? Godly success and worldly success. Do that means that you shouldn't work or you shouldn't do? A man that don't work don't eat. But then just because you working and somebody else isn't, or struggling or going through a situation, don't mean that God's hand is not on that person to do better in life. You see what I'm saying? Or to try to be the best person that they can be. You got to understand, we dealing with a whole lot in this world. You got to understand, just because maybe necessarily on your job, you more complicit with those who hate you. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand people got to feed their families and they got to do certain things, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that they accountable and responsible. But you don't get to talk about me because necessarily you're in a position to be a better father. You know what I'm saying? I would like to do that too, and I would like to be a better person for myself, or a better father for myself. But you understand necessarily the level of attack of the devil on the person. You see what I'm saying? Let's go to Martin Luther King and let's talk about necessarily Malcolm X. And it was other great leaders of our people. You know what I'm saying? That was concerned only necessarily about our own people. You see what I'm saying? They had a level of attack more so than others. Why? Because, you know what I'm saying, God, you know what I'm saying, put in their spirit to be for their own people. And then the devil don't want that. He don't want the unification of the brethren. He don't want the unification of your own people. He don't want you to love your own people. You see what I'm saying? So then the level of attack on you becomes greater. So just because the level of attack is on somebody that's greater and they going through certain systemic things, you don't get to sit there and talk about him just because you believe that you better than him because you not being attacked in the same type of manner or way, and you work better because you got a better job and he at home playing PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna sit here and talk about my brother. Are there lazy black men? Yeah, they are. There are lazy black men. There's some lazy white men too. But you don't see a lot of black men talking about white men. What were they doing? Or white people, what were they doing back in the day when we was building a country? You see what I'm saying? You don't say nothing. You quiet when they, you know what I'm saying, when they get on us. But they can sit there and look at you and call you lazy and not even pay you for reparations. You see what I'm saying? And not even pay you for something that you did. But you can sit up here and talk about your brother who's dealing with systemic racism. Why? Sometimes our brother ain't working because he got to deal with the white person who hate him on the job. You understand? But then you got some black people who are so complicit, who want to keep their job because of money, because of the love of money. You know what I'm saying? I know people praise you because you got money and you know how to get money and it's easy for you to get it. But then what happens when the white person who control the money, you know what I'm saying, take the dollar away? You know what I'm saying? Then what you gonna do? Then you done put all that praise and all that energy into money. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because you don't understand that the devil got something up his sleeve for you. You see what I'm saying? You so worried about your brother and hurting your brother and lifting your own self up that the devil that's behind you finna destroy you. You understand? You see how evil the devil is? So the Bible saying, esteem your brother, forgive your brother. You know what I'm saying? Love your brother. Because at the end of it, that's all you have. And if you don't esteem yourself, well, you're going to be the last person left. And then who you think the devil is going to tear up? If he see you, who you think the devil going to hang? Who you think balls he going to cut off? That's why I'm not necessarily so worried about people, celebrities. I like, okay, you good at doing something. That's good. That's great. And people praise you for it. That's fine. But celebrities are not necessarily, they can't help us. Because first of all, they funded by those people who don't want us to help each other. But then they can help each other. They helping each other. Why? Because it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't have time to go in the word. When Christ said, what he said to the woman who was, he called a dog, right? First of all, she had to understand necessarily her place in things. But see, we think that Christ is being malicious. You see what I'm saying? Christ not being malicious. He was like, I'm only here for my people. Okay, I'm going to tell you one story. All right. I was at Putt-Putt. I was mine like 5 or 6, maybe 7 years old. But I was very young. I'm a kid. Naive, gullible, don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, nobody around. I'm necessarily by myself. And I know the question, why would I be? I want, my people around. But at the same time, I see a white man with his white son. You see what I'm saying? So they enjoying themselves. They playing games as they playing a game. So I was like, I didn't have a quarter. I didn't have money to play the game. So because you thinking that people got your best interest at heart, or you just think you around people who necessarily understand your plight, you know what I'm saying? You can ask them questions, or you can ask something from them. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, you think you are around a community of people who are there to help you as such. But when you find out what world you live in, you know what I'm saying, you start to really think. You see what I'm saying? That we all different here. You see what I'm saying? So I went and I asked. I was like, hey, can I have a quarter so I can play a game? He looked at me funny. And he came to the conclusion, he was like, nah, no. As a child, that hurted my spirit. That hurted me. I was like, dang, should I feel bad? I didn't understand. But when I got grown and old enough, God brought that back to my mind and back to my spirit to understand what that really was. You see what I'm saying? So then I thought about it. I was like, he playing games with his son. He didn't have to give me a quarter. Because first of all, I'm not his responsibility. He didn't have to be accountable for me. Because first of all, I'm not his child. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a part of his family or even a part of his ethnic group. You see what I'm saying? His responsibility was for his son. You see what I'm saying? And it wouldn't have made sense for him to take out his pocket, you know what I'm saying, to give to some stranger something that belonged to him and his son, his family. You see what I'm saying? So he had every right as a white man to say no. You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing that people don't understand about Christ. You know what I'm saying? When Christ told the woman, first of all, I don't have to acknowledge you because my duty ain't to you. My duty is for my people. Your first duty is to your family. Our first duty as black people is to our own black people. Why? Because when you go sit down in a table, and that's why she said, even the crumbs that come off the master table, even the dogs eat the crumbs that come off the master table. So what is the table? The table that's in your house. You sit down with your family. And the reason why we killing each other and hurting each other, because first of all, we don't even have necessarily, because the family has been destroyed. The black man not in the house because necessarily the family has been, because that's the reason why the family has been destroyed. Why? And then when you destroy a family, then what happens? Destruction comes. You know what I'm saying? So innately, we can sit down. We're not even sitting down at a table. We don't sit down at a table and eat with our family no more because, first of all, we don't respect family. You know what I'm saying? We don't respect each other. And the only time we come together on days that white people have set up for us. You know what I'm saying? We don't calmly, naturally sit down as a group, you know what I'm saying, and in your immediate family to talk and conversate, because that's normally the time where you conversate with your family and have, you know, a connection. And anything that you're going through can be rectified as such, because you the parent is getting a direct, you know what I'm saying, correlation of what's going on with their child at the dinner table. You see what I'm saying? So Christ is telling this woman, hey, you're not even a part. We know you're not even a part of this culture. You know what I'm saying? There are people don't even respect your culture. There's people don't even, you know, love you or care about you. Don't Christ got a favorite? Okay, don't God got a favorite? You got a favorite orange or apple, right? Why are you going to get mad at somebody because, you know what I'm saying, they like oranges better than apples, which is a preference. So if God made the Israelite man, the black man, better than the white man, it's not necessarily because, you know what I'm saying, God trying to necessarily distinguish you from, he's trying to distinguish you. In the Bible, it talks about God, I love Jacob and hate Esau. But people can't really understand why God hates Esau, who is the white man. The reason why God hates the white man and hates Jacob, because he hates his people. Look at what white people and look what Esau do to black people. And you think, just like me going to do something to some white kid and hurting the white kid and think his family and his people are not going to do anything. That's why when black people as such has been alleged that we do something to white people, what white people do? Don't even matter if it could just be the allegation of it. But they go in on us. You understand why? Because that's their people. That's their family. You understand? And you think Christ is not going to protect his own people? You got to be out your crazy mind. So when the woman comes to Christ, you see what I'm saying? What happens? See, he comes to Christ. Christ do not acknowledge her. Why? Because he don't have to. And if a dog start barking at you, why? You don't have to acknowledge a dog, because it's a dog. Hey, it's just a dog. You keep walking, right? It don't mean that he didn't acknowledge her, he didn't see her, because his disciples told her to go away. You know what I'm saying? She about it, because what you have to do with us, this ain't even about you. This don't concern you. You see what I'm saying? But this is Christ, because Christ's hard. You see what I'm saying? Christ understands, right? And he said, great is your faith, because first of all, you have to understand places. Hey, I recognize, and he wasn't just calling necessarily her a dog because he was a dog. But you got to understand that God is an orderly God, okay? And there's an order to everything, okay? So if I like apples better than oranges, that means oranges got to get out the way until maybe I want it or something. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So let's go to the garden. God specifically made everything in its right order and specific place. With Lucifer, where he is, it becomes, Satan, which is one of his, or the dragon, who's one of his names. Why? Because he don't understand the order. He want to be God. He want to be something that God didn't create him to be. You see what I'm saying? So the order is wrong. So if we go to, even Adam and Eve and the serpent, what happened with the serpent? The serpent. Now, the whole idolatry in the garden is the wrong order. You got the doggone necessary serpent, who is necessarily an animal. You know what I'm saying? Now you got he taking orders from the serpent. That's not the order of God. The order of God was Adam, then Eve, then whatever else come after that. But you got an animal trying to give insight to the higher up, because the higher up necessarily, because what did she say? She said, well, then God said, don't what? Eat of the knowledge of good and evil. Don't do that. But then what the serpent say? Oh, you won't surely die. What do the serpent know that God don't know? Or what can a serpent do that God can't do? Because the whole idea was, if you was thinking, hey, you shouldn't even be talking to me. You shouldn't even be conversating with me. You know what I'm saying? So then, in the order of things, the first thing I'm going to do, hey, Adam, this serpent over here talking to me, he said that I won't surely die. I'd be like God if I eat of this tree. Wow, Adam wanted tree, and he would have said, hey, nah, well, we got to exclude you and get you out the garden. Why? Because the first thing, she didn't respect her husband enough or God enough, because that's why God say, hey, Adam, where you at? And when he saw that they put figs around, he was like, who told you was naked? I ain't never told you was naked. How did you know that you was naked? Okay, I know what you did in the first place. Why, you know what I'm saying? It went down the line. Well, it was this wife that you gave me. Then the wife, then Eve said, no, it was this serpent. Why you listen to the serpent and first? You should have went to your husband. You know what I'm saying? And that's our problem. We put our trust in this government. We put our trust in this system. We put our trust in these white folks who don't care nothing about us. You see what I'm saying? You listen to people telling you to do something that God has already told you your desire is supposed to be of your husband. Why? Because if you let a woman have her own desire, she going to cheat on you. If you have a woman have her own desire, she going to want every other desire of a man. You know what I'm saying? Other than her desire that's supposed to be of her husband. But she think that's too boring. She think that's too, you know what I'm saying? That's too not like what God ain't stupid and ignorant. Because God understands there's different levels to it. And there's different. But the problem is that you got the animal who want to be God. You know what I'm saying? So he going to sit there and lie to you so he can divide and conquer, so he can be something that God never intently made him to be in the first place. So if he put you over that, why are you acting like you the doggone slave? You know what I'm saying? And when he made the animal the slave or the servant. You see what I'm saying? You see how crazy it is? You see how crazy we is? You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that love your brother because he's the same as you. Love your sister because she is the same as you. And we should protect our women. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we should hurt our women and talk about our women. But I do understand we live in a world where black men are not respected. Okay? And because we are not respected, it makes that so much worse when another black man disrespects another one. We should have a common interest in understanding what we going through as black men. You understand? Being at the bottom. You understand? Being necessarily worse than everybody else, but we are not worse than everybody else. God has made us better than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. So, if God made you better, that's why other nationalities try to tell you who Christ is. Oh, Christ is, he loving. He accepts everybody that's willing. No. Then this goes back to what Christ is saying. He was like, okay, well then how Christ is going to accept everybody that don't even care about his own children? So how you going to exclude his own children, his own people in your heaven, and then expect Christ to, you selfish, expect Christ to accept you and you don't even treat his own child properly? That don't even make sense. So how you going to tell his own child, oh, Christ love everybody? Christ, first of all, hate you because you hate his own children. I am not finna love somebody who hate my son. I'm not finna love somebody who, you know what I'm saying, who want to see my children demise. You got to be crazy and out your mind. You know what I'm saying? You got to be, something psychologically got to be wrong with you. You know know what I'm saying? If you mistreat my child, then you mistreating the parent. So if God's children being mistreated, they have to be saved. That's why Christ only comes for his own people, because his own people are the only people who are in a situation that needs to be saved. You're not in, these other nationalities not in a situation where they need to be saved. But they want, hey, you greedy, you want everything. You want what God has, and you want your little heaven too. You want your heaven. You already in your heaven. But you want the kingdom of God too. You got to be crazy, not your mind. God give Christ to Israel, his people. God has given Christ. God has given grace. That's what I'm saying, to his people, so his people can serve him properly, so they can be holy and acceptable unto him. And those who don't want to, that's fine and well. You know what I'm saying? Because necessarily we disobedient. We don't listen to God. You know, the Father, of course we ain't going to listen to each other. You ain't going to listen to your brother. And if we killing each other and hurting each other and we hating each other and jealous of each other, of course we ain't going to do what God telling us to do. And he has a right to be jealous. He has a right to hate. You know what I'm saying? He created everything for himself. He created good and evil. So if anybody can be more evil than anybody, it's him. And if he chooses to be evil, it's righteous. It's right. If he chooses to judge how he want to judge, it's right. Because everything is his. He reigns on the just as much as he reigns on the unjust. So if he hates you, believe me, it's a million reasons why he hates you. You know what I'm saying? So if you care about his people, you will do right by his people. And maybe God will give you leniency. Maybe God will find something to care about you for. That's why he gave the woman, you know what I'm saying, the crumb. Why? Because first of all, she understood her place. You see what I'm saying? Everybody have a place. Everybody have a level. So I'm not finna get mad at you. Even white people, you got a favorite in your family. I'm not mad if my brother or my sister the favorite, because that's everybody got somebody that they like better than something else. Now that don't give you the right to disrespect me. You see what I'm saying? But then at the same time, you have to accept the fact of what your place, because you a favorite to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So how you the very thing you do, you gonna take from God and tell him who his favorite's supposed to be, or he's supposed to love everybody. You know what I'm saying? God ain't stupid. He ain't ignorant. You know what I'm saying? So if it's his people that are suffering more than anybody on this world, he come to save them, because necessarily they not being saved. Ain't nobody coming to black people's defense. Ain't nobody coming to all the degradations and all the systemic racism that is happening to black people in this world, across the world. Those who are necessarily Israelites. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to take a God to come and save us, because there ain't nobody else can do that, because we hate it. So if you hate his people, don't you think God hates you? You know what I'm saying? So you get to tell him he love everybody. No, you don't want nobody to hate you, but you can hate somebody else. You see how crazy that is? You know what I'm saying? That's why Christ, when he comes, before he comes to the vineyard, because Christ owns the vineyard, right? If Christ owns the vineyard, it's his vineyard, which means he owns this world. This whole land mass is his, right? So if he goes away for whatever reason, and he sends people who work for him, and those he left in charge, or those who he left necessary charge, misuse the vineyard, and he come back and he say, "Well, what's going on? Hey, you know, the person, the owner who owned this vineyard, come back and, hey, why are things not where it should be, and what's going on?" And then the person who was there, who was left in charge, you know what I'm saying, hurt the person who was sent, you know what I'm saying, and kill that person, because that person is greedy and want everything, you know what I'm saying, And he was like, well, why my messenger didn't come back? What happened? He was like, I'm going to send somebody even higher up. I'm going to send somebody higher than the person I sent the first time. Maybe they had come and they respect him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so send that person. Instead of a stewardess, I'm going to send a prophet this time. Somebody who's closer. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to send, so who's higher up in rank and level. So they send that person, and then they do the same thing they did to the person who came. Like, hey, the owner sent me. One thing such and such going on, then they do something to that person. They do something to that prophet. You know what I'm saying? Because he said, all the prophets that I seen you killed, right? And God said, okay. All right. Then surely, if I send my son, who owns rights to everything I have, or you know what I'm saying, he holds a heritage to everything I have because what's his is mine. Surely they'll listen to him because first of all, this is my heritage. You know what I'm saying? This is who I leave my estate to, my vineyard to. So if I send my son, surely they'll listen to him. So when he go, they kill him too. What you think the Father gonna do when he come? What you think he's gonna do when he come? Those who were greedy and tried to take for themselves something that didn't belong to them, it's going to be slaughtered. Why? Because you slaughtered everybody he sent. So how Christ going to give you sovereignty for his kingdom and you don't even respect his own people? That's the whole point. Every manner of thing you doing to his people with food, their culture. A person who's talented enough can't even own rights to their own son and they made you billions and trillions of dollars. How crazy is that? And then you want Christ, you say you love God, and then you say this country is a God-fearing country, and you doing wrong to his very people that God created them to have this world in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So how can you expect to get to heaven if you're not an Israelite? Because the Bible says if you treat his people right, then you blessed. But if you don't even know who his people is, if you think his people the devil, you sadly mistaken. Then you trick your own people, tricking you into believing who God's people is. God's people are not white, not Esau. You see what I'm saying? God's people are black. That's why we marginalized. You know what I'm saying? That's why we disrespected. That's why we get spit on. That's why we in a position that we in. So it's going to take a greater God to come and save us. But we got to do what God tell us to do. Because God don't want his children being wicked. Or you're going to be just like the enemy. You're going to be just like them. Because they wicked. You know what I'm saying? So you can't tell me anything about this Bible that Christ loved everybody. Because everybody don't love him. And because they first hated him. Before they hated me or anybody else or any one of his children, they hated him first. You see what I'm saying? So the whole point is that, the whole point is you can't sit here and argue with me and tell me that Christ loved everybody, that God loved everybody, if everybody not helping his own children. But see, people don't know that his own children being marginalized. Why? Because you've been tricked by the devil. Because the devil deceived what? The whole world. You see what I'm saying? In the world that Christ came and died for, his own people. Why? Because no other nationality necessarily in a situation where they need Christ or need God. Because God, the Father, owns this whole place. You know what I'm saying? But you take our land away, you take our language away, you take the understanding away, you don't give us the right education properly, you know what I'm saying? So we don't need to necessarily be infusing ourselves with other people who necessarily don't care about us. You see what I'm saying? So when you understand filth and you understand people who will shoot your mama in the head and walk off and won't even care, but you can sit there and shoot your own brother in the head and hate him and you won't do nothing. They will shoot your son. They will kill your son and you won't do nothing. But you will, if a black person does something to you, then you bringing all the woodwork. You know what I'm saying? You can't even forgive your own brother. You see what I'm saying? So how you gonna forgive a people who hate you? Just like with the Emmett Till situation and his cousin. How you gonna forgive somebody, or how you gonna say, hey, my heart go out, and when you haven't even rectified the first thing first is your own people? Don't you think they gonna feel some type of way? Hey, what this person did was totally wrong because they cared nothing about your cousin in the first place. So you crazy. You out your mind. You know what I'm saying? Because they wouldn't have did it for you. Because the slightest thing that black people do, we get sentenced way worse. White person can do something bad and they won't even get sentenced that way because they own people is on way. Because first of all, they understand something that we haven't necessarily figured out yet. What they understand, they know how they were willing to stick with their own people no matter what the situation. And then they do for their own people. So, of course, if every nationality do for their own people, certain nationalities come here, and then they go take their money and they give it back. What do you think? Christ not the same way? What's wrong with people? But if black people, we accept everybody. You know what I'm saying? We not all bias is not wrong. So Christ being biased in here, not necessarily, you can't say I'm a racist. First of all, racism is a systematic something set up when you dealing with oppression. So who are we oppressing? Who is black people oppressing? Nobody. So you can't necessarily call me a racist. Now, am I biased? Yes, I'm biased to my own people because I love my own people. You know what I'm saying? Because necessarily ain't nobody else who are able, who are in positions to help them. Because first of all, we give all our money, you know what I'm saying, in ignorance or in knowledge to everybody else and support them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying necessarily it's wrong. But then it's wrong in some way because the dollar that we use don't even come back and circulate in our own communities. You know what I'm saying? And that's got to make you feel some type of way. That's wrong. So all these crimes that's committed against us, what you think our Father gonna do? What you think Christ gonna do? Our brother Christ gonna do? He's coming back for war. He's coming back to fight. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because this whole time of almost 500 years, black people been speaking what? Peace. Yeah, you beat me across my head, peace. You done hurt me, okay, peace. You done shot all my leaders, peace. You done hurt, you done did X, Y, Z. Hey, ain't no more peace no more. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no more peace. The only way we gonna get peace, you know what I'm saying? It had something, somebody gotta get hurt. Somebody gotta realize and understand, and you can't reason with the what? Someone who's crazy. And you can't sit there and reason with someone crazy. Why? Because they made up in their mind that they gonna be crazy. They made up in their mind that they ain't gonna love you. They made up in their mind that they hate you. You see what I'm saying? If you try to convince them after 100 years and they ain't changed, it won't change. If you try to convince them after 200 years, it ain't changed. Then you can't convince them. If you convince them after 100 years, they ain't changed. Then you can't convince them. You can't convince them after 400 years, and you can't change. After 500 years, what's gonna go 1,000 years, and you still ignorant? Then I'm ready to lose my life for some peace. I'm ready to lose my life to protect my children, my family. You see what I'm saying? So it's war. It's war. It's time to go then. It's time somebody get hit in the head. Why? Because somebody ain't getting it. We not getting in our head to understand that someone hates you. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that we fight not against flesh and blood, but Christ. I'm willing to fight for Jerusalem. You see what I'm saying? I'm willing to fight for the land God gave us. I don't care. I don't care now no more. You can call me crazy you want to. The hell with folks who hate you. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't get that, and we sit around, black people, we sit around and let our leaders die and we do nothing. And we destroy our own communities. Wake up and think. Stop caring about money. Because there is something bigger than money. You can create your own money. You know what I'm saying? You can create your own land mass. Take back what the devil stole from you. Because first of all, they don't respect you because we're not willing to fight. We're not willing to give our lives for something that God has given us. You see what I'm saying? That belongs to us. Everybody want what you get. But you can't get none of what they have that belongs to you in the first place. You see how crazy that is? You know what I'm saying? So I don't care about my life necessarily. Why? Because I love not my life to the death. Because there is something greater than that. It's something greater that belongs to you. That was taken from you. First, it starts with your identity. In order for you to fight for anything, you first have to understand who you are. And if you don't know if you don't know your identity, then what are you fighting for? You know what I'm saying? Because it was your identity that was taken. Then in order to understand your identity, once you recognize your identity, then you have right to your identity and what comes with that. You know what I'm saying? And then there is a heritage to your identity. God is not a man that he will lie. You know what I'm saying? So if something yours, then you have to be willing to fight for it. Why are we fighting for stuff that we not, why are we concerned with things that's not necessarily ours? But if God gave it to you and it's yours, he's saying that you got to be right. You got to keep his commandments so that he can fight on your behalf. And it's by his spirit and his power. You know what I'm saying? To each other, we act like we ain't friends. I'm a respectful person, but I don't got no respect for people out there in the street hurting each other because it ain't no love in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, we don't value each other. That's the first thing. Okay? So because we don't value each other, so why would I want to be necessarily a thug in the street? Because we ain't thugs in the first place. The real thug, like Dick Gregory used to say, are those who wearing ties, those who wear their pants well up on their butt. I don't want to see nobody butt, in the first place, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying, what's most important? You got to understand we dealing with thugs, real savages. You know what I'm saying? So you dealing with those type of people, real ruthless people who don't care nothing. They made up their mind, don't care nothing about you. They want to wipe you off the face of the earth. They want you dead. They want you gone. And that's what the devil comes to do. 3 things. They ain't like it's something else. Steal, kill, and destroy. You ain't figured it out now, and they can throw some little money in your face, and then now you complicit. You okay? You think how long that's going to last? You know what I'm saying? How long are we going to settle for mediocre and materialistic things, monetary things? You know what I'm saying? So they children can grow up and hate you. They children can grow up and spit on you. That's why I understand why we give so much energy in these educational places where we are, you know what I'm saying, integrated. And there are some really smart. Some of us are really smart, but then why we're not reading at a higher level? They don't necessarily care. You see what I'm saying? They just care necessarily for their own people. You understand? But we come in these places expecting, hey, you know what I'm saying, change it. And if they ain't willing to change it, then what's that left to you? Then they can take stuff out the school system that needs to be solved. But then they can teach their children however they want to. If they don't want the history taught, the white folks can teach their own children however they want to. But it's us. We need to figure out how we need to teach our own children. If we need to teach them the history of what we've been through in the first place and who we used to be and what we gone through here. You know what I'm saying? And in some ways, they may not want that because they feel some type of way about what they have done to us in the first place. And they don't want their children to have that understanding. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's not necessarily that situation that's going on. Because racism is taught where? In the home. So irregardless of what's going on, you know what I'm saying? At the school, it's going to still be racism because they necessarily going to teach their children what? To despise you in the first place. So we have to understand and come together and find a better way to love each other. And that better way, because the Bible says, if you love me, you will keep God's commandments. We got to go back to keeping God's word. Even with Christianity, do you understand Christianity was given to us? Do you understand, you know what I'm saying, Islam was given to us through slavery? No, it's in every religion there's something good. And then sometimes we can get close to the culture, but that's not necessarily our culture. And I know sometimes we do things based off monetary gain because we have a common interest to want to have and support and take care of our families. You understand? I know that. But then the real true family is the family of God. You an Israelite, my brother. You an Israelite, my sister. You know what I'm saying? And your land is being governed by people who hate you. It's being governed by people who's calling you monkeys. That's disrespectful to real apes. For real reality, if that's still here, if we are ape, if we a monkey, then why is there still monkeys here? You know what I'm saying? Surely enough, they would have evolved already, right? You know what I'm saying? But then we stay ignorant because we not willing to take our cross. And what did Christ have to do? He had to die on that cross. We're not willing to die. We willing to take each other out. We willing to kill each other and hurt each other and talk about each other. But we're not willing to put our lives for our own children. We're not willing to put our lives and set up placement for our children and their children. Why? Because we're not thinking, and we're thinking about ourselves. And then every generation from that point is suffering. We in destruction. we not that we headed for destruction. We already destroyed. But everything is possible with God. God see our situation because we are people. We're not poor, but we are rich people. That's why we are marginalized. That's why we going through what we're going through, because we are rich. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not putting my trust in people who are already millionaires. That's fine. I'm thinking about a group of people. I'm thinking about a group of people. God's people. Because God don't see us individually. He see us what we do individually. You know what I'm saying? But he don't look at us as, he see us as a group. And if we not moving as a group properly to do his will, which is his commandments, you know what I'm saying? Then he can't defend us. You know what I'm saying? Of course it's not going to happen religiously because that's man-made. You know what I'm saying? Those things we worship not alive. You know what I'm saying? Because we should worship him, spirit and in truth. A God that is real, with a real body. You know what I'm saying? So in this time, we can't be tricked. You know what I'm saying? I love my people more so than anything. But I'm saying that we are the true Israelitic people. We are the people in the Bible. So the devil has to come in and make him, he got to make himself the people of the Bible. Why? Because he want to steal your identity. But then we afraid of him. God said, fear him. Why I say fear? He say fear. The beginning of knowledge is to fear who? Him. You know what I'm saying? So why if he giving you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, nothing except our enemies hurt you, why are we scared of this devil who owns nothing? Why? Because we only care about our own lives. So how God gonna send his son to save you? How God gonna empower his son to come and save you? Unless you're doing what you're supposed to be doing by loving your brother. You know what I'm saying? By keeping God first. By keeping his laws and his commandments. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing the devil don't want us to do. Why? Because he innately understand that there's a God who's going to fight on your behalf. You know what I'm saying? So if God is for you, how can anybody be against you? But if God is against you because you won't hearken unto his will, he's going to destroy you with those who hate him. You understand? That's the truth. I'm out. Peace.